you've heard is that he was in a panic, that he was frenzied. That negates the cold portion of that aggravating factor. And if you don't have each of those, you cannot bring that aggravating factor into your weighing process. The sixth one, the fifth one has to do with the unborn child being less than 12. So I'm not going to talk about that one. The sixth factor that they talk to you about has to do with being in the familial or custodial relationship. You've already found that Mr. Quiles was in a familial or custodial relationship as it relates to IS. That was found within your sexual battery finding. I'm not arguing that. What hasn't been found, nor has it been proven beyond a reasonable doubt, beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt, is that he was the father of IS's unborn child. He didn't even know. If you take every word that he said it was a possibility, but he didn't even know that. So has that been proven, that he's in a familial or custodial authority over the unborn child? If there's doubt to that, which I would submit to you, that will be doubt, then you can't bring that into your weighing as it relates to the unborn child. Mr. Skinner talked to you a lot about being held accountable for your actions. I want you to think back to jury selection. Seems like a lifetime ago. 2 whole weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, we started. I asked each and every one of you if you believed that life without the possibility of parole, in the worst case you could imagine, if that was a sufficient punishment. I asked each and every one of you that. You all agreed to that you did believe that life without the possibility of parole was a sufficient punishment in the worst of cases that you could possibly think of. So when we talk about fully or partially accountable, life without possibility of parole is being held accountable fully for your actions. There's no partial there. I asked you during jury selection if you'd be able to meaningfully consider the mitigating circumstances that will be presented to you. I told you that those mitigating circumstances could come from anything. It could be something that we presented like we did today, witnesses that you heard from. It could be something that you heard throughout the trial. It could even be something that state has said. Be anything that you've heard, anything that you've observed. If you recall, when we were talking about those mitigating circumstances, I told you all that it was a very individual assessment, a moral judgment by each of you that you would have to make as to each mitigating circumstance that you find any weight to. And we have to prove those to you by a greater weight of the evidence, and I would submit to you that we've done that for each of the mitigating circumstances that I'm going to go through with you all. I want to talk to you about some of the things that we didn't present here today and just remind you of them from what you heard throughout the trial. You heard from Johnathan Lindros, and you heard from Gary Lindros. They talked to you about the type of worker, type of employee that Mr. Quiles was during his time with them. He wasn't with them for very long, only a few months. But he excelled. He did his job well. They said he did his excellence. He went above and beyond. He was a model employee. That has been proven by a greater weight of the evidence. You've heard that from multiple people. You've heard several other witnesses say the same thing about him, not just in his as an employee, but just in general of how he is and the type of person that he's always been. He's a hard worker. He's someone who will go out of his way to help people. You heard anecdotal evidence of him building stuff at church, a sound booth, or the band area. You heard him other people talk about him helping them out with several projects and things like that around the house, coming up with things. If he didn't know how to do it, he'd figure out how to do it to help out. But that was the type of person he always has been. You heard from Ulysses Dixon. He was the gentleman who came in, who led the Bible study. He told you about the things that he's observed of Mr. Quiles since he's been incarcerated for these last almost 5 years. He talked about how I think he said he clipped toenails for some of the elderly, that he helps out other people. You heard that echoed by Dr. Rohrer today. That's been reported by several people, that he was helping the elderly, helping those who are more vulnerable. The other things that you've heard about his background since he's been incarcerated, that he's been a model inmate. He's got no disciplinary reports whatsoever in nearly 5 years. And not only that, Dr. Rohrer told you that she was shocked to find out, surprised to learn, that he was allowed to be an alternate trustee, to go and clean the jail, and did that to excellence. They didn't have any issues, was entrusted with that. Why is that so important? Why would we be bringing that up to you? Why is clipping toenails for the elderly something that you would care about? Because it demonstrates that there's something redeemable there. There's something good that he could still do, even after what you all have found him guilty of doing. There's something that's worth saving. You all get to decide what weight to assign to each mitigating factor that I'm about to go through with you. That's a decision for each of you to do. Each of you get to decide how much weight. We don't get to tell you that. We don't get to tell you that if you stack these up, there's no way they could overcome it. Only you can decide that. It's an individual decision. Now, collectively, on a reasonable doubt. When it comes time to making that weighing, that's to you. That's to each of you. And the other thing I talked to you all about during jury selection, which is so critically important, was that individual decision and that individual moral assessment that each of you are going to make. We asked you all to treat each other with respect. We asked if you all would all agree to respect the decisions of your fellow jurors, and especially if they happen to disagree with your individual assessment. This is what we were talking about. That's the weight that we've put on you all. That's the job that you've been tasked with. So we're asking you to do that. We're asking you to look to each of those mitigating circumstances and weigh them against the aggravating factors that you find beyond a reasonable doubt. You heard from Mr. Quiles' family members and friends as well. You heard from a neighbor, someone who he worked on cars with, someone who he just happened upon. You heard him talk about the type of help he provided to him. Mr. Hale, Curtis Hale, gave you that information. You heard from a best friend of his aunt who's kind of like his mom. You heard the encouragement that he was to her during hard times. You heard from nieces. You've heard from cousins, nephews. You've heard from someone who was just like his mom, stepped in after his mom passed, became that aunt/mom, as she would describe. You heard her talk to you, and several of them talked to you about their love for Mr. Quiles. They've been here. They know the outcome. They know your verdict, and they were still willing to come here and testify to their support for a family member. To ask you to consider that when you're weighing these most important factors and circumstances. They asked you to save Mr. Quiles' life. Now, you're the trier of fact. We've been saying this from the beginning. You're the ones who get to decide, moving forward, what will be the recommendation. Let me talk to you about one last thing. We brought this up during jury selection as well. Actually, hold on one second. Let me grab it.
She said, hold on 1 second, like she on her cell phone.
All right. Just want to go through these mitigating factors a little bit more in detail, and then I'll wrap up with the last thing. One of the first mitigating circumstances that you're going to hear read from the court when you're read those instructions shortly will be that Mr. Quiles has no significant criminal history. Uncontroverted. No one has said that. That has not been disputed. That we have proven by a greater weight of the evidence. He doesn't have a criminal history outside of what you all have found him guilty of. He was 33 at the time of the crime. You've heard that he was raised by his mother. You've heard about his father being absent from his life and the effect that that had on him. You've heard about the loss of his mother and the effect that that had on him as well. You've heard about their special bond, their relationship, and how that bond has transferred over to his aunt. You've heard about from his aunt how she sees her sister through her nephew/son. You also heard about some of the challenges that he had. You heard about him using marijuana and alcohol and that being something that was normative, meaning maybe that's just the culture of the family and the effects that that has had on him as well. Dr. Rohr talked to you a little bit about, very briefly, but she talked to you a little bit about him suffering some abuse growing up. You heard from his aunt about some conflictual relationships that he's had with his brother, and that being a very difficult relationship. You also heard about his education. Dropped out of school in the 7th grade. Didn't complete the 7th grade.
What?
He's self-taught, but for the most part, that was it as far as schooling goes. He did that because he became a father very young, at just 15 years old. 15 years old, he left school, started working. He's worked ever since. Supports his kids. You heard that he has and has had a good relationship with those kids. He's got five children. 5 children that he still maintains a relationship with. You heard about the area that he grew up in. Even growing up in a high crime, poverty-stricken area in Brooklyn, New York, you still heard that he stayed out of trouble. He at one point went into a drug rehab facility to get away, according to him. Get away from what was going on around him. You also heard from Dr. Rohr about personality disorder. what that means for his relationships, what that means for him acting on impulse, doing things without thinking things through. He doesn't have any sort of severe mental illness. He's of average intelligence, which I would say is probably higher than what you would think of someone with that, with a less than a seventh grade education. He doesn't have any known neuropsychological issues or anything along those lines. Pretty average in general. No cognitive deficits or anything along those lines that you have to consider. But he did have a bit of a dysfunctional background, dysfunctional upbringing. Now, just to kind of go through, and I've gone through a lot of the other ones already, just to kind of go through that last thing, I talked to you guys about this during jury selection. If you can recall what I said to you, I told you all that you may get to this point. We talked about the process that you all have to go through. There has to be at least one aggravating factor. If you find one aggravating factor, then you move on to the next step. That next step, where we kind of do this weighing, and I'm skipping some of it, but you're going to do that weighing process. You found mitigating factors. I believe there are mitigating factors that have been proven by a greater weight of the evidence that you have. There's going to be aggravating factors that have been proven beyond a reasonable doubt. We're not disputing that by any means. When you go back and you do that weighing process, even if you find that those aggravating factors outweigh the mitigating circumstances that we've presented, that you've heard, that you've observed, that you believe, that you, in your individual assessment, determined to be true, even if then you find that those aggravating factors outweigh, life is still an option. You all still have the ability, even after all of that, to say life without the possibility of parole is the appropriate punishment here. And I'm sure you remember, we went through this painstakingly because I asked so many of you that question. I asked so many of you, even after weighing, and even if you find that this is the worst case scenario, even if you find that those aggravating factors significantly outweigh, life is still an option. There's something redeemable here. There's something here that you can latch onto and say, life without the possibility of parole is what's appropriate in this circumstance. And that's what we're asking you to do. We're asking you to save his life. Does he deserve it? You probably don't think so. But is there something there worth saving? Is there something there that would make you all come back and say life without the possibility of parole is appropriate? It is a sufficient punishment. That's not letting somebody off. That's not letting accountability go by. That's holding someone accountable. That's making sure that this person does not have the possibility of ever doing anything like this again. We would ask you today, as you go back, as you look at everything, when you come to that final decision within yourself of what is the right thing to do in this case, remember that life is still an option. And we ask that you would come back with that recommendation of life without the possibility of parole. Thank you.
Members of the jury, you've now heard all the evidence and the argument of the counsel. It is now your duty to make a decision as to the appropriate sentence that should be imposed upon the defendant for the crime of first-degree murder. There are two possible punishments. 1, life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, or 2, death. In making your decision, you must first unanimously determine whether the aggravating factors alleged by the state have been proven beyond a reasonable doubt. An aggravating factor is a circumstance that increases the gravity of a crime or the harm to a victim. No facts other than proven aggravating factors may be considered in support of a death sentence. The aggravating factors alleged by the state are as follows. Please note that the following aggravating factors apply to both counts 1 and 2 unless otherwise noted. 1. Johnathan Quiles was previously convicted of another capital felony or a felony involving the use of threats of violence to another person. First-degree murder is a capital felony. The crime of sexual battery is a felony involving the use or threat of violence to another person. 2. The first-degree murder was committed for the purpose of avoiding or preventing a lawful arrest. 3. The first-degree murder was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel. This applies only to count 1. Heinous means extremely wicked or shockingly evil. Atrocious means outrageously wicked and vile. Cruel means designed to inflict a high degree of pain with utter indifference to or even enjoyment of the suffering of others. The kind of crime intended to be included as especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel is one accompanied by additional acts that show that the crime was conscienceless or pitiless and was unnecessarily torturous to IS. 4. The first-degree murder was committed in a cold, calculated, and premeditated manner, without any pretense of moral or legal justification. Cold means the murder was the product of calm and cool reflection. Calculated means having a careful plan or prearranged design to commit murder. A killing is premeditated if it occurs after the defendant consciously decides to kill. The decision must be present in the mind at the time of the killing. The law does not fix the exact period of time that must pass between the formation of the premeditated intent to kill and the killing. The period of time must be long enough to allow reflection by the defendant. The premeditated intent to kill must be formed before the killing. However, in order for this aggravating factor to apply, a heightened level of premeditation demonstrated by a substantial period of reflection is required. A pretense of moral or legal justification is any claim of justification or excuse that, though insufficient to reduce the degree of murder, nevertheless rebuts the otherwise cold, calculated, or premeditated nature of the murder. 5. The unborn child of IS was a person less than 12 years of age. This applies only to count 2. 6. IS was particularly vulnerable because Johnathan Quiles stood in a position of familial or custodial authority over IS. This applies to count 1. The unborn child of IS was particularly vulnerable because Johnathan Quiles stood in a position of familial or custodial authority over the unborn child of IS. This applies to count 2. The state has the burden of proving an aggravating factor beyond a reasonable doubt. A reasonable doubt is not a mere possible doubt, a speculative, imaginary, or forced doubt. Such a doubt must not influence you to disregard an aggravating factor if you have an abiding conviction that it exists. On the other hand, if, after carefully considering, comparing, and weighing all the evidence, you do not have an abiding conviction that the aggravating factor exists, or if having a conviction, it is one which is not stable, but one which wavers and vacillates, then the aggravating factor has not been proved beyond a reasonable doubt, and you must not consider it in providing a verdict. A reasonable doubt as to the existence of an aggravating factor may arise from the evidence, in conflict in the evidence, or the lack of evidence. If you have a reasonable doubt as to the existence of an aggravating factor, you must find that it does not exist. However, if you have no reasonable doubt, you should find the aggravating factor does exist. A finding that an aggravating factor exists must be unanimous. That is, all of you must agree that each presented aggravating factor exists. You will be provided with a form to make this finding as to each alleged aggravating factor, and you should indicate whether or not you find each aggravating factor has been proven beyond a reasonable doubt. If you do not unanimously find that at least one aggravating factor was proven by the state beyond a reasonable doubt, then the defendant is not eligible for the death penalty, and your verdict must be for a sentence of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. At such point, your deliberations are complete. If, however, you unanimously find that one or more aggravating factors have been proven beyond a reasonable doubt, then the defendant is eligible for the death penalty, and you must next determine whether the appropriate sentence to be imposed is life imprisonment without the possibility of parole or death. First, each of you must determine whether any mitigating circumstances exist. A mitigating circumstance is not limited to the facts surrounding the crime. A mitigating circumstance may include any aspect of the defendant's character, background, life, or any circumstance of the offense that may indicate the death penalty is not appropriate in this case. It is the defendant's burden to prove that one or more mitigating circumstances exist. Mitigating circumstances do not need to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Instead, the defendant need only establish a mitigating circumstance by the greater weight of the evidence, which means evidence that more likely than not tends to establish the existence of a mitigating circumstance. If you determine by the greater weight of the evidence that a mitigating circumstance exists, you must consider it established and give that evidence such weight as you determine it should receive in reaching your verdict about the appropriate sentence to be imposed. Any juror persuaded as to the existence of a mitigating circumstance must consider it in this case. Among the mitigating circumstances you may consider are as follows. 1. Johnathan Quiles has no significant history of prior criminal activity. 2. Johnathan Quiles' age at the time of the crime. 3. Johnathan Quiles was raised by his mother while his father was absent from his life. 4. Johnathan Quiles was 33 years old at the time of the offense. 5. Johnathan Quiles began using marijuana at the age of 12. 6. Johnathan Quiles lived with his mother, but she was never present in his life and always worked. 7. Johnathan Quiles' mother's boyfriend abused him. 8. Johnathan Quiles was forced to drop out of school at a young age to take care of his child. 9. Johnathan Quiles went to drug rehab at the age of 15. 10. Johnathan Quiles began to work at age 15 to care for and contribute to his family and was unable to finish school. 11. There were no men in Mr. Quiles' mother's life on a regular basis. She had short relationships with men and her boyfriend abused him. 12. Johnathan Quiles' mother is deceased and his only relatable family is his aunt and cousin. 14. Johnathan Quiles was raised by his mother in a high crime area. 15. Johnathan Quiles fathered a child at the age of 15 and had to work to provide for his child. 16. Johnathan Quiles had a poor relationship with his father, and he was absent from his life. 17. Johnathan Quiles' father was absent from his life, and his mother used corporal punishment. 18. Johnathan Quiles' IQ test is above average intelligence despite dropping out of school at a young age. 19. Johnathan Quiles does not have any known cognitive or neuropsychological deficits. 20. Johnathan Quiles has a history of alcohol and cannabis abuse. 21. Johnathan Quiles has a dysfunctional family background. 22. Johnathan Quiles has one brother. 23. Johnathan Quiles has a close relationship with his aunt and cousin. 24. Johnathan Quiles has a loving relationship with his 5 children. 25. After Johnathan Quiles dropped out of school, he had to take care of himself and his children. While his mother lent support, he had to take care of responsibilities, causing him to leave the family home. 26. Johnathan Quiles was a hard and dedicated worker. 27. Johnathan Quiles has no disciplinary reports while in jail since his arrest. 28. Johnathan Quiles worked as a trustee in the jail. The final step in the process is for each of you to determine whether the defendant should be sentenced to life without the possibility of parole or death. In making your decision about whether the defendant should be sentenced to life without the possibility of parole or death, you must weigh the following factors. 1. Whether sufficient aggravating factors exist. And 2. whether the proven aggravating factors outweigh the proven mitigating circumstances. The process of weighing aggravating factors and mitigating circumstances is not a mechanical or mathematical process. In other words, you should not merely total the number of aggravating factors and compare that number to the total number of mitigating circumstances. The law contemplates that different factors or circumstances may be given different weight or values by different jurors. Therefore, in your decision-making process, each individual juror must decide what weight is to be given to a particular aggravating factor or mitigating circumstance. Regardless of the results of each juror's individual weighing process, even if you conclude that the sufficient aggravators outweigh the mitigators, the law neither compels nor requires you to recommend that the defendant should be sentenced to death. If fewer than 8 jurors vote to the death penalty, your recommendation must be for life in prison without the possibility of parole. If 8 or more jurors vote for the death penalty, your recommendation must be for the death penalty. You will be provided with a form to reflect your decisions. The fact that the jury can make its decision on a single ballot should not influence you to act hastily or without due regard to the gravity of these proceedings. Before you vote, you should carefully consider and weigh the evidence, realizing that a human life is at stake, and bring your best judgment to bear in reaching your decisions. When considering the aggravating factors and mitigating circumstances, it is up to you to decide which evidence is reliable. You should use your common sense in deciding which is the best evidence and which evidence should not be relied upon in making your decision as to what sentence should be imposed. You may find some of the evidence not reliable or less reliable than other evidence. You should consider how the witnesses acted as well as what they said. Some things you should consider are: did the witness seem to have an opportunity to see and know the things about which the witness testified? Did the witness seem to have an accurate memory? Was the witness honest and straightforward in answering the attorney's questions? Did the witness have some interest in how the case should be decided? Does the witness's testimony agree with the other testimony and other evidence in the case? The fact that a witness is employed in law enforcement does not mean that his or her testimony deserves more or less consideration than that of any other witness. Expert witnesses are like other witnesses, with one exception. The law permits an expert witness to give her opinion. However, an expert's opinion is reliable only when given on a subject about which you believe her to be an expert. Like other witnesses, you may believe or disbelieve all or any part of an expert's testimony. It is entirely proper for a lawyer to talk to a witness about what testimony the witness would give if called to the courtroom. The witness should not be discredited by talking to a lawyer about their testimony. You may rely upon your own conclusion about the credibility of any witness. A juror may believe or disbelieve all or any part of the evidence or the testimony of any witness. There are some general rules that apply to your discussion. You must follow these rules in order to return a lawful verdict. You must follow the law as it is set out in these instructions. If you fail to follow the law, your verdict will be a miscarriage of justice. There is no reason for failing to follow the law in this case. All of us are depending upon you to make a wise and legal decision. This case must be decided only upon the evidence that you have heard from the testimony of the witnesses and have seen in the form of the exhibits and evidence and these instructions. The case must not be decided for or against anyone because you feel sorry for anyone or are angry at anyone. Remember, the lawyers are not on trial. Your feelings about them should not influence your decision in this case. Your decisions should not be influenced by feelings of prejudice, bias, or sympathy. Your verdict must be based on the evidence and the law contained in these instructions. The verdict must be in writing, and for your convenience, the necessary forms have been prepared for you. They are as follows. There's 2 forms. Each form is 3 pages, one form for count 1, one form for count 3. It's slightly different than the last one you had last week, but all those very similar. The one I'm holding right now is one for count 1. As you can see at the top, it has the aggravating factors, and it goes through each aggravating factor for that count alleged by the state. And it says, we, the jury, unanimously find that the state has proven the following aggravating factors beyond a reasonable doubt as to the defendant, Johnathan Quiles, in this case. And then you go down each aggravating factor and you check yes or no. That has to be a unanimous decision by all 12 of you on the jury panel. And remember, there's 5 per count, 6 total. If you check, and then on the next page, it tells you if you completed your deliberations, the foreperson should sign and date the form at the end of the form. If you, the jury, answered yes to any aggravating factor listed, then you go to section B, which is on page 3. And section B is on the last page. It goes through the instructions that you are supposed to go through, that weighing process that was talked about. And then at the very bottom, it tells you how to return your verdict in that regard. And then the foreperson signs and dates it. That's the same process for count 2 as well. In just a few moments, you'll be taken to the jury room by the bailiff. The first thing you should do is choose a foreperson who will preside over your deliberations. The foreperson should see to it that your discussions are carried on in an organized way and that everyone has a fair chance to be heard. It is also the foreperson's job to sign and date the verdict forms when all of you have agreed on a verdict, and to bring the verdict forms back to the courtroom when you return. During deliberations, jurors must communicate about this case only with one another and only when all jurors are present in the jury room. If a juror goes to the restroom, the deliberation should stop until the juror returns. You are not to communicate with any person outside the jury about this case. Until you have reached a verdict, you must not talk about this case in person or through telephone, writing, electronic communication, blogging, Twitter, email, texting, etc. Do not contact anyone to assist you during deliberations. These communication rules apply until I discharge you at the end of the case. If you become aware of any violation of these instructions or any other instruction I have given in this case, you must tell me by giving a note to the bailiff. Many of you have cell phones, tablets, laptops, other devices here in the courtroom. The rules do not allow you to bring those phones or devices with you into the jury room. Mr. Gray will take custody of them just like last week, and you'll be given back to them at the conclusion of your deliberations or if we break for the day and come back tomorrow. If you need to communicate with me, send a note to the bailiff. If you have voted, do not disclose the actual vote in that note. If you have questions, I will talk with the attorneys before I answer, so it may take some time. You may continue your deliberations while you wait for my answer. I will answer any questions if I can in writing or orally here in open court. I cannot participate in your deliberations in any way. Please disregard anything I may have said or done that made you think I preferred one decision over another. In closing, let me remind you that it is important that you follow the law spelled out in these instructions. There are no other laws that apply to this case. Even if you do not like the laws that must be applied, you must use them. For more than 2 centuries, we have lived by the Constitution and the law. No juror has the right to violate rules we all share. So, fortunately, we had all 16 of you for the past 11 days. To the 4 alternates from last week, do you guys have any personal effects in the jury room? Okay, well, Mr. Gray will take you there to get your personal effects. I'll bring you back in here, and then I'll dismiss the other 12 to the jury room.
This got to be scary. I don't know what he's thinking about. Mom would be going through their mind because my nerve bad.
So, members of the panel, just like last week on Thursday, it's about 4:20. We'll be here until you guys tell us otherwise. If you guys want to break for the day and come back tomorrow morning, that's perfectly fine. Just let us know, and we'll bring you back tomorrow morning when you guys let us know you want to break for the day. If you guys want us to order you dinner by a certain point, let us know. We can certainly accommodate that as well. We need to know by 6 if that's your preference. But if you don't want to break for the day, you want to go for a couple more hours, it's up to you. There is no rush.
I want y'all to get this. Y'all need to get this out the way.
What you want us to do in that regard. We will be here as long as you want. And if you want to break or order dinner,
that was just for the verdict.
Break, we'll come back
and
just continue.
The sentence is very important.
You can let Mr. Gray know immediately, or you can wait a while.
I'm trying not to talk while he's talking.
And we can go from there, and I'll let the attorneys know what your preference is in that regard as to how we move forward. But until then, all the evidence and the instructions will be provided to you in the jury room, and we will wait to hear back from you guys.
He sure don't want to leave this case. I want them to get this out the way. Yeah, they need to get this out the way. Now I think it need to be for the jury to decide, because the jury the one who decide the verdict. Why should they decide the sentence? Because they decided the verdict.
You guys may have a seat.
I want them to get this out the way.
This officially ends your jury service with us. You are officially dismissed. I'm sorry we had to bring you back, not knowing. You just never know what's going to happen with a member of the jury. So we wanted to make every effort. We brought this to conclusion this week. Even though you couldn't serve and be in the deliberation room, please don't think that your service is any less. We are less grateful for your service. It is to be here for 11 days is a monumental task. Be away from your family and friends, your work, personal lives, essentially put it on pause 2.5 weeks ago, is a monumental task. I am fully aware that when you got that summons in the mail about 2 months ago now, and when you came here that Monday morning, this is not what you thought your life would go for in September. I am extremely grateful for your service. We can't do our jobs in this courthouse without people like you willing to serve.
I thought the jury were going to the bed.
And I gave this profound, what I thought was a couple weeks ago regarding jury service and what it means. I am incredibly grateful for your service.
Oh, Lord, what is he talking about?
I'm sure you don't want to hear me talk anymore. You guys are officially dismissed. I feel like I know you guys already, but I don't know you at all. So you guys have a good day. Just so you guys know, the cameras never showed you guys. No one knows your identity.
He talked. He must be new at this.
Just feel some solace in that. That said, you guys, security walk you guys out, and you guys are free to go.
He wastes a lot of time. Like he don't have no life or nothing. You know what I mean?
So the jury officially outside our presence. I wanted to make a couple grammatical changes to the jury instructions. I read it as if the grammatical changes were fixed, but I want to give them a clean copy. So other than that, is there any exception or objection to the instructions as read to the jury from the state defense?
He got a lot of practicing to do. Michelle looked like her wig head on her head, like she tired or something. Michelle tired. Michelle wore out. She ready for it to be over with.
Okay, well we'll be in recess. I'll
recess again.
I'll sign them and get them off to the jury panel, and we'll just notify you guys when we hear something. We'll be in recess.
He need to work on as a judge. His presence okay, but he got a lot of stuff he need to work on. He need to watch some of the good judges, cause He wastes too much time using the bathroom. Oh no, he ain't taking out his tie. Reset again. Recess. Look, he took that. He took that tie off, honey. Michelle through. I mean, he had too many. He's so I was at work and I was listening to them talking. All his witnesses got up there talking about church. I said, "Oh no, he ain't mess with the church folks." God, he was in with the church people. All the witnesses were just making up something like they didn't even know where they live. And Lord have mercy, he need to finish this today. They don't wore me out. This little piece. He can't go back in the cell with a belt in time. I heard all of them talking about church. And one lady said that's my brother-in-law. He helped me. He reads the Bible with me. Oh Lord. I'm like, oh Lord. That Johnathan miss. He liked to help people. Didn't nobody say he didn't like to help people. Need some help, boy. That joke there. Let me see what I missed. Hey, Miss Lansing. Lassa, you need to email me as soon as possible. And my email is on my channel inside the you can't do it with your phone. You can't do it with your phone. You got to have a computer. Susan Q. Well. God, I was so tired. You know what, Rhonda? I was sitting up. I don't know how in the world I went to sleep. I looked at the let me see. Y'all, I'm gonna drop the link in case somebody wanna come up here and talk. Okay. I'm gonna drop the link in case somebody wanna come up here. Look at the link and they didn't say about the lady found in the water. I don't know why they ain't say it. I think the mama knows. I think the mother knows.
We are a nation.
Thank you, Abdul. Anybody want to come up and talk? Anybody want to come up and talk about the case? Anybody want to come up and talk about the pros and the cons, the other case? Which way y'all think it's gonna go? Y'all think it's gonna be death penalty or not? What y'all think? The state want the death penalty. Yeah, I'll make sure you smash the like button for me. Thank you. The state want the death penalty, y'all. But do they have enough? Now, the law changed in Florida. Let me put it, hold on, let me put it on aggravated.
And has
Y'all, it's something about Johnathan. It's something give me, it's a feeling something I get from Johnathan is silent. Something don't happen to Johnathan. Something. Because he sit there, I know he can't do anything, but he sits there like, I don't know. It seems like it seems these people need help. People like him need help. They don't go get help. Because he like to he'll cut the old people toenails. He'll do anything that grooms a person. The psychologist said ain't nothing wrong with him. But I noticed he like to see people. Everything is allegedly, but it be for real though. Whatever I'm saying. Those people in their minds can manipulate you and don't even know that you are going through something like that. Yeah, maybe that's what I'm trying to say, Nick. Yeah, because they just it's something, it's hiding. Yes. And they don't, like when I listen to each one of those, each one of his witnesses got up there, they was thinking to say things about Johnathan. Yeah, he you know, it was more like he's the Bible. Now come on, y'all stop saying that if he did what he did. I mean, it's two sides to him. It's some help. He look like he need, yeah, seem like they was making excuses for him. And I couldn't understand it. And everybody he asked, the judge asked them where they live at. They had to think about where they live. Them two men didn't. One lady, I couldn't even hear her. I don't know why they mute her. It was kind of light-skinned lady. I don't, and had her hair going back. They mute her. I couldn't hear her. I wanted to hear what she had to say. But they were like, he's church. And my see, I know. I was just listening to them, and then I was just sitting out there in that heat saying, what? And I had on that long hot sleeve shirt, forgot to take it off behind it. I didn't know what to think. I said, what are these people saying? And the state didn't have nothing to ask him. Then a boy got up there, I guess that's his nephew. His nephew got up there. Oh my gosh. Well, they don't know what, didn't you see that? They didn't know where they live. And the nephew, like, I thought that he was talking like Johnathan was his daddy. He's come to the soccer game. Was that his son? That boy had the ice cream hair. Was that his son or something? Because he was real young. He was like, It made him feel good when his uncle came to his soccer games and sport. He just made it just seemed like they were making us stuff. And then he wouldn't be sitting there reading the Bible with my wife. Like she said, him and I was sitting there reading the Bible, honey, please. Yeah, ooh, Lord have mercy. They must have been talking when John. I wish we could have. Oh, yeah, that was his nephew. His nephew really didn't know what to say about Johnathan. But Johnathan is a good, all of them people like that are good people, but they got issues. They got issues. They need help. They got to get some help. They got to get some help and do what the help tell them to do. And he'll be all right. I wish one of the, yeah, they were trying to help him. And one lady, she said, I'm trying to think of anything that's done. I'm just trying to think so I can help him. I got so much to say, but, and they asked the state said they ain't have nothing to say. I just want them to get this out the way because he don't woke me up. Abdul said they didn't say nothing, y'all, about the other case, about the person in the water. I think they're gonna play it off and keep us worried. He might went to all the games for them. Little girl, you never know. You never know. I was saying, how old was the boy when he was going to his game? I thought somebody was gonna say, well, how old were you when he was doing that? He probably gonna say 3 or 4, 4 or 5, allegedly. I don't think the jury gonna mess around with this. It's gonna be more of the judge. The jury, they're not gonna have no problem. Only thing with the death penalty is I wanted him to do life in prison without the possibility of parole. Only reason why I say that because he need to suffer that way. He's not Johnathan not gonna be able to make it in jail. He's not gonna be able to make it mentally because of what he did. Let it play. See, the death penalty gonna be kind of hard, y'all, due to the fact that the law changed. The law saved him. The law saved him for his time to get the death penalty. Allegedly, that's what I was thinking. When they changed the death penalty law, he came in right in time. So the penalty law could make it likely for him to get the death sentence. Just want to know. I just want them to talk. I think it needs to be mandatory that they say something. I think they should be able to say something. I want to know what's going on in his mind when he sit there and look straight. And he sure kept his head this way.
Mitigating circumstances is not a mechanical or mathematical.
I was trying to see who was she.
Parent. She worked really hard to provide him the things that he needed. She was adamant about education. She had 3 degrees before she passed. He chose not to go to school, and we know why. But there was nothing she wouldn't do for him. or for Joseph for that matter, for both of her kids. But her and John had a special bond, a really special bond.
And during their
Yeah.
upbringing, did John's mother work quite a bit?
She did. She went to school and she worked.
As far as you mentioned about his education, that he chose not to go, and that was, I'm just using your words. Tell us about what you know of his education.
He did up to the 7th grade. Learning was not a disadvantage.
Stop right there. Stop. See, 7th grade. Some ain't right. And then the aunt looked like that. Why he do 7th grade? I thought the death penalty was on the table too, but then I thought too, y'all remember it wasn't. The penalty, let me pull it. It changed. It changed for some people. When I don't know, I thought they confused me with it. One minute they want them to vote on it, but then it's a law that they passed that some states don't have death penalty and some do. But Florida has death penalty. I don't understand why they were saying it. I don't know. That's what I found out about the penalty law. That's why I put the title like that. Hey, y'all, Shakira, y'all better talk to her now because she can't stay long. Yeah.
For him, he was very smart. He just did not want to go to school. There was nothing that he couldn't do. He comprehended well. He's
Wait, hold up, ma'am. Stop it. Making up excuses for him. If he was so smart and he was so this, he would have stayed in school. Come on now. Stop using psychology on people. That's my job. You sitting up here and saying that look how she looking at him. This is auntie. Something, that boy had some issues coming up. And they did not save that boy. They did not help this boy. Then he grew into a man doing whatever happened to him. It's sad, man. And look how she looking. Oh, wish I can say.
Self-educated himself in a lot of things. So it wasn't that, I don't know if he just couldn't handle or he chose to work for his little children that he had at that time, but he was a really brilliant young man at a young age.
And so tell us about his family. You said that he had children at a young age.
He did have children at a young age. He had a boy and a girl. They were back to back. I think they're like a year and a half apart. I believe his first child was born at 15 or 16.
Wait a minute.
And he worked really hard to provide for them.
Y'all, I'm gonna blame the parents. That's all. I'm about to blame the parents. That's why Johnathan the way he. I'm about to blame. I don't usually blame the parents in a situation. You can't tell me that this boy's so smart and educated and all that, and y'all let him drop out of school. He educated himself. Thank you. Come on. Listen how she sounds. Oh, I wish I can do something about that.
And as far as his other children that came later, what do you know about his relationship like as a father to them?
He's a great father to them. He's always been a great father to his kids.
And does he maintain, as best he can, a relationship with them to this day?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about you and Mr. Quiles' relationship?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Your relationship with Mr. Quiles.
We instantly bond at birth. When he was born, he was no longer my sister's child. That was my child. We had a special bond when he was born. I took him everywhere I went. We did everything together. As he got older, I moved I was married to a military man that traveled a lot, so I wasn't with him as often, but he'd come every duty station we went to spend time with us. When his mother died, I had promised to do my best as a mother figure for him. And when he made the choice to move over here, I was really excited because I would have him all the time. He moved here. He found himself a church home. He gave himself to the Lord. And he enjoyed life. And he's always been a positive.
Okay, how old was Johnathan when he started doing all of that? Was he 16, 15, 13? Because y'all making that boy, y'all over, something happened. To a military man that cheated. No, you never know. You right, Shakira. You never know. They failed him. And then he go do somebody else's life like that. Because that girl was in the 10th grade.
Person in my life. I've never seen him handle things in a negative way. There's never a moment if I'm sad or I'm down, he always say things to just lift me up. And he did that for his mother. Even though his mother's cancer was incurable, he always kept her spirits high.
What do you know about Mr. Quiles' work history and kind of his background, employment background?
Mr. Quiles can do anything he put his mind to. He can work on cars. He can be a carpenter. He can be a mechanic. There's nothing that he could not teach himself to do. And he always had work. He can find work easily.
Listen to what she said.
Because he was so skillful.
It ain't. See, I don't like that. I don't like this. She making up excuses for what they didn't do for Johnathan. Somebody, oh yeah, he loved to do. Yes, he had to do for himself because they didn't do it for him. They didn't do it for him, so he had to train himself. This is not good. This is not good.
Can you tell us a little bit about what your relationship has been like and what you know of him since he's been incarcerated?
Even being here for 5 years, I've never seen him sad. I've never seen him cry. He's always so uplifting. I'm the crybaby. I'll cry on the phone with him.
Hold up, y'all. They failed Johnathan. They failed Johnathan as a child. Just say y'all failed Johnathan. He didn't have no structure. He didn't have no guidance. He had to teach himself everything. Now she talking about he didn't cry. See, that's why I asked y'all that a few minutes ago. I wonder what's in his brain. Cause he just sitting there as if, do you know you about to get ready to get life forever in prison? I don't know. So
I'm sad. I'm upset. I'm angry. And he's like, Mom, it's going to be okay. I promise you it's going to be okay. And he never loses hope.
He said, Mom. So you have mama, his auntie.
Can you tell us a little bit about, I know you have kids, correct?
I do. I have
Heard
4.
from a few of them today.
Yes.
All right. Can you tell us a little bit about the family dynamics as far as your family and with Mr. Quiles?
Yes. John always says he's the firstborn. So he makes my children really jealous. So he'll say, that's my mom. No, that's my mom. I'm the firstborn. You know, silly things like that.
Bad.
But they all get along as if they were all natural brothers. They all get along. He impacted my 2 younger kids. He taught them a lot of stuff. My youngest son couldn't ride his bike for years. And John came one time, and my son's never stopped riding his bike. But no one could teach him how to ride his bike but John. So he's
because y'all didn't do nothing for Johnathan. Johnathan had to do everything for himself. I wonder how old he was. Now, Johnathan was grown when his mama died. because his mom, that what his brother said when he took the stand. They was grown. They and she just keeps saying, oh, she doing that for a reason, to keep saying Johnathan did everything on his own, so it could look like trying to make it seem like he couldn't help for doing what he did because he did everything on his own. She trying to use
my children in such a positive way. He was their go-to person. He would build go-karts and teach them how to ride the go-karts, show them what angles to turn, what not to do, just a lot of fun stuff. And he would educate them that education is the most important thing.
What?
Can you share us a little bit about what Mr. Quiles means to you personally?
He's my everything. He's my light at the end of the tunnel. I go to him for everything. He always has special words for me. He always tells me, no matter what I'm going through, God is going to see me through everything. There's nothing that I can't overcome. And I look forward to hearing his voice every day. He is my connection to my late sister. My sister and him have a special bond, and I see that through him all the time. And when I see him, I see my sister.
Nothing.
And I look forward to speaking to him every day, every opportunity that I get.
You can't cuss.
Can you tell us any other information you would like,
Kelly, you can't
provide to the
cuss.
jury today before we let you go?
Yes. I just wish everybody knew John like I knew John. John is such a warm, loving person. Everybody that comes across John have a special bond with him. He just has a natural love for people. And I just wish everybody was able to see that in him.
Okay.
He's an amazing young man.
Okay, just a moment.
I know they'll make you do it, but we can't use profanity.
Ma'am, good to see you today. Thank you for your testimony.
They didn't look, the state didn't have nothing to ask her by, honey.
Any additional witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
All right, members of the jury, give me 15 minutes. I need to finalize some instructions with the attorneys, and then we'll go to closing arguments. It's no secret at this point, after closing arguments,
accompanied by additional acts that show the crime was conscienceless or pitiless, or was unnecessarily torturous in the UIS. Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. He somehow gets a 15, now 16-year-old girl to lure her to his work. He gets her in an area where nobody can see them, off camera, with a gun in tow.
I mean, the thing is, where did the aunt meet him at? Where did the aunt find this man at? Where did she find this man? See, women be so in a hurry to get a man. They'll just just pick anything. Where she find him at? Where she get him at? She didn't even look into him. Ooh. I don't know, because I couldn't hear that other lady. Girl, you is a fool. She just picked him up anywhere. She just pop up out of nowhere. Wow. I don't know where she get that dude from. She brought trouble. She brought trouble in the family. That's why the family couldn't get along, y'all. When they brought him in, that's when everything exploded. She married him after knowing him for 10 what? Now she did. Oh, not one of these. She thought you were good looking. She sure did. Allegedly. Not bad. she going, wham. 10 days. Come on. She ain't do her homework. Eldua, let us know when everything back on.
His own brother on the witness stand said, well, yeah, he called me back and said, you know, he was frantic, he was panicked, he didn't know what to do. Called me back and says, it's been taken care of. What that tells us makes this aggravating factor proven. Why? Because she's alive when he placed his hands around her. And as he described it, he couldn't stomach it. Is it shockingly evil and extremely wicked to strangle a teenage child and then shoot her to death? Yes. Is it outrageously wicked and vile to treat a human being who's carrying what he thought was his baby like this and attack her like this in an industrial lot in the middle of the day when she should be at school carrying his child? Yes. Pretending like he wanted to take her out of town or run off with her. The poor little girl had underwear packed.
Look at Johnathan.
When she gets there off to the side, his hands or whatever, he tries to strangle her, goes around her.
He's shamed.
That's what he said. I'm not even arguing that. That's what he said. And oh, by the way, has his gun with him, knowing full well that she can't be gone long, not in that family. Not with those 5 hands who are wonderful people. And all they do is just, everybody knows everybody else what's going on. There's no way she's going to run off.
Baby daddy.
Not be missed. We had to do it quickly. Planned it a while. That's the next aspect. We'll talk about that in a minute. But as to heinous, atrocious, and cruel,
Go, girl.
it was clear from the brother that he strangled her first.
Woo.
Do you think he did these things to her with utter indifference?
Kelly, you going wham.
Well, I'll say this. When he referenced to his brother, he couldn't stomach it. He sure is laughing about it in the jail 22, 23, 24 days later. Indifference? You bet.
Y'all a mess.
A man capable of killing who he believes
likes
carried his child? He couldn't stomach it.
With good hair. And she had 2 babies by him.
To strangle and then bring a gun to work? There's one purpose for a firearm, especially at that job.
I can't believe it either. Not the way she
that was to kill her. And he tried a certain way and it didn't work. Shot her. And that's what he said. Could have pulled his gun out and just shot her. That's not what he did.
That's why her family was mad. That's why the family had a problem.
Pitiless and simply cruel.
Baby was in the 10th grade and gone.
Now, the next one, that's 3 aggravating factors, folks, and we argue those have been proven to you beyond a reasonable doubt. Here's the 4th one.
Y'all tell me when to come back.
Cold, calculated, and premeditated manner. The first-degree murder was committed in a cold, calculated, and premeditated manner without any pretense of moral or legal justification. Cold means the murder was the product of calm and cool reflection. Calculated means having a careful plan or prearranged design to commit murder. Drop to that second paragraph. You know the first paragraph. You remember that from your guilt phase instruction. Look at the second paragraph. In order for this aggravating factor to apply, a heightened level of premeditation demonstrated by a substantial period of reflection is required. He lures her away from school. He coordinates a ride somehow for her. He gets his gun in advance. He takes his gun from his home and puts it in his pants or truck, or his minivan. He drives it to work. He has a plan to get rid of her clothes, her books, her belongings, to get rid of her body, somehow to lure her from Terry Parker High School. He has the dumpster picked out because it normally gets picked up on Tuesdays or Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Much of this he's saying on the tape. He picks an area where it can't be seen on camera. He picks an area where his wife won't see that he's somewhere unusual, like way out in the woods on the north side or the west side. He picks an area that is off camera. He tells IS something, we're going to run away or whatever it is he told her, to get her phone turned off, to hide that from the family. He turns off his geolocation data and then blends right in after he does that.
The aunt talking about, he told the aunt, she believed everything he said. He told the aunt that he was a police officer for 2 years for New York. That man ain't never been no police officer. You know, how she believe him? I don't get that. Something ain't right with them folks. That one, something ain't right. She got 2 children by him. What's she gonna tell her kids about their dad?
I'm going to go through a few of those with you. Not all of them. Some of them we're not going to make any strong arguments to. I'm not going to insult your intelligence, as Mr. Skinner said. IS's unborn child was obviously less than 12 years. I'm not going to stand here and argue about that. But I do want to go through some of those because what you must do for each of those aggravating factors is you must unanimously find that each has been proven beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. So I just want to bring to your attention a few things that we believe.
Yeah, he said he wasn't buying a Honda 200. She believed him.
As we talk about prior
and she believed him.
Convicted, we're talking about the crimes that you all just found him guilty of. We're not talking about
did turn out the phone location.
Prior criminal history before this. Talking about these crimes here today and only these crimes that you all found him guilty of. There's nothing previously from that.
You stupid.
The second factor that they talked to you about.
Yes, he did. And the police looked at him like, they looked at each other like, this man crazy.
Avoiding or preventing a lawful arrest. And I ask you, has that been proven beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt? That was the purpose behind what you have found him guilty of doing? If you do not feel that that is the case, if there's any doubt to that, any reasonable doubt to that for you, that is not an aggravating factor that you can put into that pile and start weighing, as Mr. Skinner used that analogy several times.
Oh, Lord.
Comments that were made later on are being used to inform.
And this girl right here, let me see, can I find her? I don't know what this girl right here was talking about.
Johnathan. She's a hard worker.
What she said? Let me see. It must be up home.
The decision the defense made.
Oh, Lord have mercy. I don't know what I'm. Yeah, and he's sitting there like,
of the jury, welcome back. You guys may have a seat, of course. Members of the jury, both the state and the defense have now rested their respective cases for this phase. The attorneys will now present their final arguments to you. Please remember what the attorneys say is not evidence or your instruction on the law. However, do listen closely to their arguments. They are intended to aid you in understanding the case. State, you have the floor.
Y'all a mess. Well, we don't seen all these. I want Johnathan to talk.
Found mitigating factors. I believe there are mitigating factors that have been proven.
I wish Johnathan to talk. Yeah, they having a problem today with the death penalty because the jury last time, they didn't go back there and stay this long. They staying a long time this time. I think they're gonna do away with the death penalty. Let them suffer in jail. I can see movie documents being made. I mean, but you know what? Les, this happen every day. Stuff like this go on every day. Did she really marry him? That's what I want to know. Was it really 10 days? That's what I got. I don't know. I didn't hear nothing about 10 days. She didn't even know him. And he got a pretty little girl. They ain't show the little girl, but I know she pretty. Yeah, I want him to suffer. I don't want them to get him the death penalty. I want him to stay in that jail and suffer. That's what I want him to do. That what it is. I just want them to give him life. I want him to suffer in there. Johnathan ain't gonna make it in there, y'all. I'm telling y'all now. They gonna tear Johnathan up mentally. They ain't done with Johnathan. They trying to hit a verdict. They trying to see if they gonna get him the death penalty. Somebody about to own him. I was scared I made. Oh, wait. You see the judge back there procrastinating now. He probably want to buy them pizza and stuff. Yeah, like he don't want to go home making that money. He came from New York, and every time he opened his mouth, he been lying. And she trusts him. Oh no, that's what I said. It's taking them longer than they did the last time. They discussing the thing like us. I think he need to do life or die eligible for parole. I think he just need to stay in there. Yeah, that I really do. They gonna come back. They gonna. Cause they ain't never stayed in that back there this long. Yeah, I want her to get life for that eligible for parole because when them men finished with Johnathan, They don't be playing out in that house. They don't be playing in that weed. He already know who his girlfriend. I hate that girl life was taken like that. I really did. I hate that girl life was taken like that. What Meek said she thought I was scratching my throat. I was sitting up in the hand. I couldn't hold the ass open. I don't be knowing when I'm gonna go sleep. I am so on edge. They need to go and get this out of the way. Yeah. I clipped that out. You caught me. The hair on his head. You know that pretty hair. Oh, did the wife say that, Brenda? I didn't know the wife said it. I can pull up the wife. I didn't know the wife said that. Man. It's gonna be a mess when we get to Henry. Henry gonna be frowning up at everybody in the courtroom. Henry probably don't got a haircut. We sure is gonna love him. Gonna love him, honey. That's why, hey y'all, that's why what his name? With Megan trying to get out of that Tory Lane. He trying to get out of there. He said he ain't gonna make it in there. He said his roommate, he can't deal with it. His roommate, they about to change his roommate. No, ain't no man. That's no 10 days. No. I have girls from them 3 girls first. I ain't about to do that.
Are you struggling to make ends meet? Well, worry no more. Introducing this all-new subsidy program. With our benefit card, you receive a generous $1,400 every month. With it, you can cover your gas expenses, food and groceries, and yes, we've got your rent expenses fully covered. Join now and secure your
He's so bossy, he may be the man. He like tell folks what to do. He got a little mean streak in him now. He got a little mean streak in him. Can't believe somebody let somebody come in their family and just destroy it like that. But it's happening. It's happening everywhere. Happening right now. As we speak. Sad. Girl was in the 10th grade. And see, when people don't get their education, they'll do anything to distract you from getting your education. See, he stopped in the 7th grade, so them going to school wouldn't matter to him. See, Johnathan got kids. That don't make no sense. He got all them babies. Oh my gosh. Them mama's gonna have to raise them. I know in the world I'd be able to tell my children that. He was Johnathan. They made Johnathan do what he want to do. I know a little boy. I'm not sure that boy. Mama say he don't go to school. He stay at home and take care of her, and be playing the game, y'all. But I don't know if she. I didn't want to dip in her business. He just looked like he's supposed to be in like the 6th or 7th grade, and I wanted to ask her, but I ain't want to ask her. I wanted to ask her. So, what he got homeschooled? Cause his little brother go up to the school. He goes up there and pick up the little brother while the mama standing across the street. I don't know. It's so much going on these days. But really, it don't take me no year to get to know nobody. I study them while I'm look, I'm studying them on the first day. I study them and I keep studying them. I be trying to study these people, honey. You don't know what you gonna meet out here. These days, I tell anybody, you're in a marriage, try to make it work. If y'all can't make it work, then leave it alone. But if you've been in there all this life and you turn around to go with somebody, you just know for 3 days, man, please, or 3 weeks, you starting over. I ain't starting over again. I ain't about to start over no more. I don't feel like getting no headache. I caught a headache. I had one gave me a migraine. Yeah, she had noticed that the auntie saw the warning sign. That's what his name? That's what Johnathan was telling us. The aunt knows about some of the stuff. The aunt let the girl Snapchat him. Come on, man, you don't do that. They ain't got no business Snapchatting that man. That's right. If you say it takes long, sure do take longer than 10 days. You got to learn them jokers. And they got to learn you. And then it all good at the beginning. With some, I ain't gonna say all. With some, you got to watch the tricky ones. You got to watch the tricky ones now. You got some tricky ones that living off of you, and you don't even know they living off of you. Cause they don't keep no money. And then if they give you some money, they asking for the money back later on. Where they do that at? Shoot, you give me some money, then you asking for some money. That's right. Ask me, give me $300, then you asking for $100. You asking for $50. You pinching out the money you gave me. I'm trying to save the money you got. I can't save with the money that you gave me because you pinching out the money you gave me. Woo, shit. I don't know, Shirley Strawberry. You can't trust them around your daughters. I ain't care what. I had to tell one, the same one. I said, look, don't worry about them. I got them. You leave them alone. Don't say nothing to them. They don't need you to discipline them. I'm gonna discipline. I got them. Leave them alone. Because they already don't like you now. They already don't want mama with nobody. Leave them alone now. I got them. The strawberry letter. I ain't seen that, y'all. The lady who do the strawberry letter. Y'all know they need to be asleep, honey. Yeah, her client about She got a YouTube. She got a YouTube Brenda. Who that? Y'all. I said, is a dude on here? A dude. I still wanna I still want what? That's what I'm saying. Who's Strawberry? I don't know this lady. I don't know. Steve Harvey, wife. You talking about his wife? Shirley is. Wait a minute. Shirley is Steve Harvey, friend, co-host. She done lost everything because of her husband. What? The co-host? Girl, I'm telling you, they'll sneak and do it. You better open your eyes. They sure will. If you don't have your eyes closed and you busy and you ain't got time for yourself, man, I'm supposed to be getting money for you. I'm telling you. You call yourself trying to compromise. Yeah, my children don't like you. My children don't like you. They'll do it though. And now, give you some. You don't have no habits. You don't have no habits, but they got the habits. And give you the money. I ain't got time for that. I do my own headache. I be my own headache. I'm okay. Lost her house, see? Car and everything. She almost lost her job. What? But Steve kept her on. Ain't that a blessing? I'll bring you down real quick. Them kind of jokers like that'll bring you down. Now, it's a couple of them jokers out there. Shoot. Gotta open up your eye, bro. Shoot, my children didn't like nobody. My children don't. If my children don't like you, you're not gonna be around me. If they don't like you, and I already don't date. And then when I was dating, shoot. Mine gave one man HELL. Gave that poor man, sure did. And then everybody like, why you want him? You can do better than that. And I was like, what's wrong with him? I'm the blind person because I'm always not paying attention. All I want somebody to cut the grass and paint when I need them paint. I said, what wrong with them? My children don't like you. I said, leave them alone. Leave them alone because they don't want nobody around their mom. Leave them alone now. Don't worry about them. Leave them alone. He just got to tell somebody what to do. He just got to say something to them. Leave my children alone. Hey, get rid of that joke. Woo, Lord, I was so tired. I couldn't get in another relationship. I had a little young friend though. Yeah, you can ignore them red flags. Good, you ain't lying. I had them to cut the grass, paint. Because I didn't feel like cutting the grass then. Ooh, child, I had to go. I had to get out that mess. I ain't never had that many headaches in my darn life. Now I'm good. I'm all good now, y'all. I am so happy. I am so happy. But I tell people, if you're in a good relationship, it's all good. Hold on to them. Yeah, they got red flags. I ignored the red flag. The red flag was right there in my eyes. And I don't at 8 years, but I was already planning to leave. And then I said, I'm gonna get me a young man. They just gonna get your money. They just gonna get your money. I said, H-E-L-L, you got it. Why they you mad cause you can't get it no more? No. I'm good. Yeah, make a mistake. You make a mistake. God pick you back up and open your eyes. Everybody make mistakes. Ain't nobody perfect out here. Even the one been their husband 28 years, 38 years. I know a man, he been with his wife 40-some years. I was talking to him the other day. He said, that woman get on my nerve. I said, you probably get on her nerve. you probably over there getting on her nerve. I said, well, don't go to nobody else. Hang on with her. You don't been with her 40-something years. You might as well finish the other 40 with her. I said, you've been with her 40 years, keep her 40 years. Been with somebody 8. If you're in a good relationship, stop jumping from this relationship to that relationship. If it's good, if it worth it, if it's good. Try to hold on to what you got. I like to see couples happy. Y'all, I used to have like cookouts, couples, single people, and everybody had a good time. Sure do. But these days when you date, it ain't nothing like the days back then. You really have to be careful. But you have to be careful when you date now. A lot of women going online. They ain't nothing wrong with going online. It's bad that we got to go online just to date. You got to go online to find a date. What's wrong with the men? Don't ask the women to talk to the women. I seen one guy on TikTok, he was kind of stout, young guy. He said, I want me a woman, but I look like this. And I was like, ain't nothing wrong with the way he look. He just got weight on. Ain't nothing wrong with that. It's just, men's not like they used to be. Men used to want women. God dog, you got to make a man want you now. I gotta go get some hair sold in just to get one. I ain't doing all that. They complained about you being doing it. Yeah, it's different time now, baby. I remember when I just have friends. Shoot, it's hard to get a friend now. Now this guy want to be my friend again. I just can't be my friend, man. You married. You're a married man. If I knew you were married, you would have never been talking to me. You lied. I don't do that because I don't want nobody doing that to me. I ain't no future in loving no married man. If I can't see you when I want, I can see you when I can. Loving you is wrong. I don't want to do right. Loving you is wrong. That's a song right there. Y'all got to go listen to that. And y'all got to watch it too if you got them jealous ones. Show do. Tell me you out working all night. Oh, they'll stop you from having friends too. And them, see, them the wrong ones you don't need to be with. Oh, what they doing back there in the room? They don't make, I know they don't made a, it don't take this long to say. They're feeling and all this now. Come on now. That's that judge doing this, procrastinating. Yeah, you have to, it's different. It's time different. I don't wear my hair too. Stunning. They sure do. They be on death row for a long time. They ain't killing nobody now. They ain't getting rid of nobody. They say that. They ain't doing that. China start giving us stuff to do that. Now, how they gonna get rid of somebody? China don't fool with us no more. China stop. The Chinese have stopped all that. That's right. That's right. I'm gonna keep it back. I think now, like you got it look like to me they reality TV is don't need to be on TV. I think they need to take reality TV off TV. And the only reason why I say that is because these kids see stuff like that. They see stuff like that. This is not good. I don't know her. Yolanda. I don't know these folks. And it's some good men out there. It's just some of these men, a lot of men said they don't want to go through, a lot of men don't want to go through what we went through. You know what I mean? A lot of good men out there. They don't want to go through what we saying about the men saying it about some of the women that they have. They have. My husband just testified at a death penalty case. What? For mass shooting that happened at his what is it? Wow, just ended 3 weeks ago. Really? Wow. And y'all know that case I was telling y'all, what's that girl name? I don't play. See, I'm a jealous woman. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm a jealous woman. I'm sorry. I'm the way I am. I'm just jealous. I don't want nobody I'm just I don't want nobody all hooked up on the man. Baby, get your hand. Damn. I know they used to say, y'all here it come. Uh-oh. I don't play when it come down to mine. I ain't gonna play with him. And I ain't gonna play with you. Now, Judge, don't take all day. Don't get no break. Y'all just had a break now. Y'all think so? I'm a Pisces, lesson. I'm a straight out real Pisces. I get rid of you so quick. You be like, she was in you. I can help you. I can be in love with you. And I can leave you too. Girl, this man yeah, he had more breaks than anybody. I'm Pisces. I can walk away from you, honey. I'll leave. You be like, dog, you leave me this cool? Man, I'll get out your life real quick. Real quick. Real smooth. Don't argue. Don't do nothing. Just walk away. I don't have time to be fussing. I don't have time to be arguing with nobody. Life too short for that. You won. Bye. That lady, that auntie just talking. I ain't got time. I don't have time. People trying to argue. I don't do that no more, baby. Bye-bye. Gone. I ain't got enough energy. It's 90-something degrees. I'm hot. I'm tired. Sure will drain you. I don't want to argue. I don't want to argue. Leave me alone. Please leave me alone. I got to a point. You would say you want. I got to a point in that relationship I was in. I said, please leave me alone, please. I'm begging, please leave me alone like a child. Look, you know how them children be saying, leave me alone. That's how I would. Leave me alone. Stop messing with me. I don't want to argue. Shoot, leave me alone. I go downstairs, he go downstairs. I go that way, he go up there. I'm so happy, y'all. That's probably why I sleep out of bed. Ooh, shit, honey. Ooh. He thought I was gonna be jealous when he left. Boy, I was trying to help you find a woman. You didn't even know. I was trying to help you find somebody. They thought I was gonna be poo-hoo-hooing. Poo-hoo-hoo. Baby. Whew. Got that out of her. Y'all got to watch. You know what? You got to watch the ones who try to ease their way to stay, try to ease their clothes over your house. You got to watch them too. I had to admit, I met this guy. It was a while. I'm talking about a while back. I was like, where you going? He just supposed to spend the night, one night. That joker got started coming out stuff, putting his stuff in the car. I like, what you doing? I'm about to drop you off somewhere. See, now I'm bringing to your house. And I said, wow. Honey, we got over here. I put all his stuff back. I said, I can't deal with you. I put all his stuff back in that car real neat and dropped his butt off, honey. And when he got that last shoe out of there, Lanita was gone. Boy, I said, woo-wee. That's it. That man brought all his clothes over my house, y'all. Give me no headache. Woo, you left a shoe, baby. Okay. Woo, Lord, get this shoe, honey. Get your shoe. Because I ain't coming back. Get this shoe. I had to look up under the seat. Make sure I ain't leave nothing. Woo, have mercy, Jesus. Whew. I said, whoa. When he got out that car, I said, hallelujah. I turned that music on, honey. It was on. Team Pisces, baby. Shoot, we ain't got time. Pisces ain't got no. I don't have time. Camper, go sit down. Go sit down, Camper. Yeah. Man broke him and moved his stuff back. What? That's scary. What? Them the crazy ones right there. Oh, see, you got a child by here. See, we ain't got no kids. See, that's what's the girl, two girl, Melissa and Moody. Melissa Moody, those two girls who and Nicole, what her last name? What Nicole last name? Them two girls who they found in their apartment. I guarantee you it got some it's some young boys like them. It's some young cats did that because they tried to sell that girl. Y'all know them two girls missing. That not missing, they killed. Had to mail the had to nail the one shot. I did it. I did that when I was in my 30s. I had my dad had gone out. I'm scared. I'm ready. All right, Judge, time for you to go home now. You wife now. I did that when I was doing.
Let's go on the record. 19 CF 7518. I have counsel of state defense. Mr. Quiles present. My understanding is we have a verdict. Any reason why we can't bring the jury in? First from the state.
Not from the state, Your Honor.
Thanks. Bring the jury in, please.
So don't.
Officer Fair, can you hold the jury real quick?
Me too.
I failed to say this before. If you don't believe you can contain your emotions one way or another, just please step outside, just as we did last week. With that said, officer, you can bring in the jury.
The judge doing too much. They got the police by what's the name? He need to move, yeah, so we can see Johnathan.
Are the verdicts are legally sufficient? I'm going to publish myself. Mr. Quiles, you may stand with your attorney. State of Florida versus Johnathan Quiles in 19 CF 7518, Division CRI, verdict as to sentence in count 1. We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant, Johnathan Quiles, in this case. A, aggravating factors. We, the jury, unanimously find that the state has proven the following aggravating factors beyond a reasonable doubt as to defendant Johnathan Quiles in this case. 1, Johnathan Quiles was previously convicted of a capital felony or a felony involving the use or threat of violence to another person. Answer, no. 2, first-degree murder was committed for the purpose of avoiding or preventing a lawful arrest. Answer, yes. Number 3, the first-degree murder was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel. Answer, no. 4, first-degree murder was committed in a cold, calculated, and premeditated manner without any pretense of moral or legal justification. Answer, yes. 5, IS was particularly vulnerable because Johnathan Quiles stood in a position of familial or custodial authority over IS. Answer, yes. We, the jury, have unanimously found that the state has proved one or more aggravating factors. Each of us has considered whether one or more mitigating circumstances exist. Each of us has weighed whether the proven aggravating factors are sufficient and whether the proven aggravating factors outweigh any proven mitigating circumstances. We have further considered whether Johnathan Quiles should be sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole or death. We, the jury, find Johnathan Quiles should be sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of
That's
parole.
what I thought.
Signed and dated by the foreperson. As to count 2, we, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant, Johnathan Quiles, in this case. We, the jury, unanimously find that the state has proven the following aggravating factors beyond a reasonable doubt as to the defendant, Johnathan Quiles, in this case. 1, Johnathan Quiles was previously convicted of a capital felony or felony involving the use or threat of violence to another person. Answer, no. Number 2, the first-degree murder was committed for the purpose of avoiding or preventing a lawful arrest. Answer, yes. Number 3, the first-degree murder was committed in a cold, calculated, and premeditated manner without any pretense of moral or legal justification. Answer, yes. The unborn child of IS was a person less than 12 years of age. Answer, yes. Number 5, the unborn child of IS was particularly vulnerable because Johnathan Quiles stood in a position of familial or custodial authority over the unborn child of IS. Answer, no.
I didn't get that one.
We, the jury, have unanimously found the state proved one or more aggravating factors. Each of us has considered whether one or more mitigating circumstances exist. Each of us has weighed whether the proven aggravating factors are sufficient and whether the proven aggravating factors outweigh any proven mitigating circumstances. We have further considered whether Johnathan Quiles should be sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole or death. We, the jury, find Johnathan Quiles should be sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Signed and dated by the foreperson.
Yeah.
Mr. Quiles, you may have a seat with your attorney.
See, he gonna suffer in there.
Defense. Members of the jury, I have some final instructions for you. I wish to thank you for your time and consideration of this case. I also wish to advise you of some very special privileges enjoyed by jurors. No juror can ever be required to talk about the discussions that occurred in the jury room except by court order. For many centuries, our society has relied upon juries for consideration of difficult cases. We have recognized for hundreds of years that a jury's deliberations, discussions, and votes should remain their private affair as long as they wish it. Therefore, the law gives you a unique privilege not to speak about the jury's work. Although you are at liberty to speak with anyone about your deliberations, you are
Johnathan ain't gonna make it in there, y'all. I'm telling y'all.
A request to discuss either your verdict or your deliberations may come from those who are simply curious or from those who might seek to find fault with you, from the media, from the attorneys, or elsewhere. It will be up to you to decide whether to preserve your privacy as a juror.
That's right.
On a personal note, I want to thank you for the past 2.5 weeks.
You don't like that.
We've been together for now 11 business days, and I am fully aware that when you received your summons in the mail 6 to 8 weeks ago, and then when you came here that Monday morning, this is not what you thought your month of September would go like. Far from it. Yet you showed up every single day to do good work.
They were good. He had him a good jury.
For what you guys have done the past 2.5 weeks. It's not easy. It's very difficult work. It's solemn. It's heavy. And I fully appreciate what you guys have been through the past couple weeks. I want you to know that there's a reason why I referred to you guys as juror numbers. It's a practice of mine, but
them folks gone, y'all. He
video camera
what's so sweet?
time. No one, you guys
Capricorn.
any of that. No one knows your identity outside myself and the attorneys.
Them folk gone, but all they know he ain't getting out of jail though.
Every day you guys showed up, and then your 4 other colleagues who didn't have the pleasure of going back in the jury room with you to deliberate.
He sure is.
And
they about to tear him up.
Not everywhere in the world can that happen.
I'm tired of him talking.
So I want to thank you for what you guys did.
I'm tired of him. He talked to me. Because he told on that guy, while he was in court, that he was selling drugs in there. Man, them folks ain't done. Now they don't find out that he got life. But man, he about to be picking everybody's toenails now. Let me stop. Ooh, I'm just playing now, you two. I'm just playing now. He gonna be popping everybody's toenails now. Oh, y'all. Ladies, I had a good time with y'all. Now I got to go and live and do some more videos. I got to go eat first, and then I got to make some videos. Y'all so fun. I like y'all. Y'all so funny. Y'all is funny. He gonna be. Look at Johnathan. Go on, Johnathan. Go on to get you somebody to braid that hair, honey. That's scary. I enjoy y'all. Y'all funny.
The jury's outside our presence. I still have counsel to state defense. Mr. Quiles present. What do you guys want me to do next?
He like to cut folk toenails. They about to wear Johnathan out in there. Look how Johnathan looking like, man, now my life is through in this motherfucker.
So at this point, I guess we would just request that.
I know I'm about to go there and feed me something. I ain't ate since I got off from work. All right, y'all. I got y'all go over there and check out Susan channel. Who else on here got a channel so we can check y'all channel out? Yeah, we need to support one another channel. That's what we need to do. Anybody else? Kelly, you got a channel? Anybody else got a channel? We can come support each other.
In order PSI's orders, given the jury's recommendation.
Susan be over there, y'all. Susan be over there. A salesman.
I'm not sure if he does waive. Are you guys going to move forward with something today, or do you want a separate date on this?
Well, we'll come over there. Just go and start. We'll come over there and hit the like button and get you started. We need to support one another. Need a support system. Got these people for themselves, man. I have a channel. I'm starting to big up. Okay. Well, we'll support you.
It would just be for a status date, and at that point, I can inquire regarding.
We'll support you. We need to support one another. Everybody needs to support these folks for themselves.
This case,
they all for themselves.
If possible, concluded within the next couple weeks, if I can do that.
We can collaborate together. I'm so tired looking at him.
I was just checking Thursday. No, I'm not available tomorrow.
It's the page.
Thursday's a bit crazy for me.
It's the page on right.
I can do Friday, Thursday afternoon.
Thanks for the support. Okay, this is Kelly vlog. Y'all need to. We need to support her channel. Let's just hit the like button. Y'all go through that. Hit the like button. Leave a comment.
Thursday around
and that goes Susie.
What time were you thinking?
Yeah, I'll make it work.
Anybody else got a channel, starting a channel, we'll support you. That's what we here for.
My schedule's like the rest of the week. I've been somewhat busy with you guys.
All right, then, y'all, everybody, and those who watching out there, we appreciate y'all watching, but y'all can hit the like button too, okay? All right, ladies, let me go eat. I'm hungry. I'm out, y'all.
I think I had an all-day hearing Friday. I think it got postponed.